Welcome back to another Handyman Land video. Today's video we have the unboxing and tool review of 3 different products that the company WEN has. These are different types of sanders that could be great in your workshop and an affordable price. This is not a sponsored video. I purchased these tools with my own money. So let's open up these boxes and see what's inside. And hopefully as I'm filming, the sound of the rain doesn't annoy anyone. It's been raining all day, but this is the only opportunity I had to do this unboxing video. So I apologize if the sound of the rain is a little bit too much. We will be unboxing the Oscillating belt and spindle sander, a 3x21-inch belt sander, a 4x36 belt sander with a 6-inch disc. Another thing is that I will put the timeline in the link in the description at the bottom, just in case if you're interested in this one and not the other two, or vice versa. Also, in our last WEN product review video, we started from small to big. On this video, we're going to start from big to small. Okay. Got some instructions. These are definitely for these sanders. They're all different sizes here. Okay. See here. So it looks like this is the front. Just give you a little tour here. I've never owned one of these oscillating belt and spindle sanders, but I picked this one up because it did have some good reviews and you can't beat the price. When I made this purchase, I paid around $200 for it. I think it's around $206 or $210 now. I mean, prices of everything have gone up. Here's our belt sander attachment. Comes with an 80 grit sanding belt, spindle nut wrench, 3 spindle washers, table insert, 4 sanding drums, 3/4, 1 inch, 1.5, and the biggest one is 2 inch. And it looks like the belt and our sanding sleeves only come 80 grit. Not sure if you can see that. 80 grit. And in this little bag here we have a spindle knob with the image of a padlock locking and closing, a hex nut, and a washer. And in our final bag, these are called throat plates. Okay, it's the next day. I had to stop filming last night because the weather got really bad and the winds picked up, and there is a massive tree that's right next to the workshop and that was rocking back and forth. We did have a few branches, this one's really big, that came down, but it was just best to start again tomorrow, which is today. And the other cool feature that I like about this oscillating sander is that our base and housing stores all of our components. As for our 1/2 inch, that fits directly over your spindle. That's pretty cool. Now let's talk about our table. You do have the option of dropping the table 15 degrees, 22.5, 30, and 45. And you do this by pulling down on this latch. Loosen your knobs on both sides. And if you have sausage fingers like me, just use the tool that they provide and you could pull down on that latch, and with your other hand you could drop it to whether you want it on the 45 or a 30. Very simple hardware for that, which I like. Less things that'll break. And you could just pull upward to bring it back to your zero mark. And I was reading online that some people say is about a 1/16 of an inch off from end to end. If I hold my square down, you can see that that is true. I don't know if you can see that. So yeah, from end to end, it's 1/16 of an inch off. But typically you would be working on the front side, because our workpiece will most likely always be on the front. For what this tool is for, I don't really see that little bit of a difference making a difference on your workpiece. Our on and off has a safety feature. Just pull out the tab and your power tool will never turn on. And if you're removing this tab because you have maybe a child in your workshop, the goal is don't lose it. Put that back in. Nice. Now for our belt sander attachment, if you look right here, that lines up with that notch. And if you look here, that will line up with this end. And your spindle goes directly in that hole. And this washer falls right in there. And get your spindle knob that's located in the back. As you can see, it has threads on the inside. Screw it in. And I would assume that's hand tight only because there is not a special tool for that knob. Here's your belt release. You could remove your belt here. I'm doing this with one hand. Simple. This is 80 grit. I did see a kit on Amazon for this specific oscillating tool. It had a one set of 80 grit, 120 grit, and 220 grit. One for each of them, plus your belt, for I believe it was $6.99. I'll leave a link in the description at the bottom if you're interested in buying other grit paper. Look carefully at your belt sanding attachment. If you see there, that arrow indicates the direction that your sandpaper will be going. If you look at your sandpaper, you will also see arrows. This way you can't make a mistake. Go ahead and lock it in place. And if you look at this knob, has an image of a positive and negative. That's to help make adjustments to your sandpaper. This right here on the side is your work stop. Basically so your piece don't fly away. But I say always hold on tight to your piece. My understanding is this work stop has a love and hate reputation. Some people like the feature, some people hate the feature. I guess it really just depends on the operator. So for in this case, you would just have to be the judge of it. On the side of your tool is your dust port. Now, my understanding is that this WEN oscillating tool has a better reputation than the rigid oscillating belt sander and spindle sander. And I believe the rigid is about $150 more than the WEN. Which that is a very important feature, because if you do this day to day, you don't want that wood dust getting into your lungs. Let's remove our belt sanding attachment. Don't drop your washer. And I forgot to show you, your washer actually drops in there first. Then your knob. Lift straight up. On the back side, remove your table insert. And in its place, you put the belt sanding attachment. Table insert. Let's grab our 2-inch sanding drum. Over our spindle. Spindle washer. Spindle nut. Or 2-inch throat plate. And when using our sanding drum, we won't need our work stop. Go ahead and take that off. On this side, you can store your knob. Lift up. And on this side, you can store your work stop. Okay, we have it plugged in. Let's see how loud this is. Nice. So I have some scrap pieces here. My shop vac is actually at a work site. Let me see what I can find to help minimize the dust. And for testing purpose only, I had to put some gaff tape to connect my mighty vac. And just to be on the safe side, because you never know. Okay, turn on our vacuum. I like it. For 80 grit, it's actually pretty smooth. Now for a tip, if you do not tighten your nut right, your sandpaper will start to rise. If you see that happening, just turn it off and make sure your nut is nice and tight. I noticed as I tightened the nut, it actually grabbed onto the sandpaper a lot better. Basically, your drum kind of expands just a little bit because you're applying pressure. Hopefully I explained that and that didn't sound too confusing. Another cool thing is that when your drum is going up and down, it's actually helping to maintain your sandpaper nice and cool. And what that does is help prevent burnt marks on your workpiece. That's why a spindle sander is better than you using your drill press as a spindle sander. I didn't do much sanding. I did the two sides, but as you can see, there's no dust. There's absolutely barely anything, and I'm not even using the proper equipment. So I would say the dust port is doing a very good job to help maintain and keep that sawdust down. But I still recommend to wear a dust mask regardless. I do have one here, but I'm not doing any actual work right now. I'm just testing this unit out. All right, let's do some belt sanding now. Now, when you first start out and you turn it on, your belt might go up or down and you have to adjust it from here. If I'm not mistaken, when you turn it towards the plus, your belt rises. And when you turn it towards the negative, your belt will lower. And I think I already mentioned this. This is your release. But let's go ahead and lock this in. And I'm not going to turn on the vacuum yet. Just want to get my rise right. Let's turn it on. See that? Turn it up, it will go up. Turn it down, your belt will go down. So I think we got it right there. Yeah, so when you first start, you want to adjust your belt. I was going to use this, but I think this will be a better demonstration because this isn't flush. And we put our piece, and our work stop will help our piece from flying away. And for the belt, I think it will throw more dust. So let me put my dust mask on because I don't need to be inhaling all this sawdust. So that's nice and smooth.
Let's try a 45.
Okay, there's my 45. As you can see with the belt sander, it did kick up a little bit more sawdust. But I don't have a proper setup to begin with, so I can't complain too much. Another thing is I don't have it mounted down to the table. So from the vibration and placing my piece and applying pressure, it was moving on me. So I do recommend when you find its final destination, just mount it to the table. So my thoughts on this tool, I like it. I think for the price and what you're getting, it's worth it. And just keep in mind that it only comes with 80 grit paper, just in case if you're going to work on something right away, you need something like 120, you're just going to have to order it ahead of time as well. Also, I'm gonna leave you a screenshot of the specs of this tool. And before I jump on to the next tool, I want to show you one more thing. I believe WEN should have provided some type of mounting bracket for your 6-foot cable, because there's plenty of space here in the back for that. And if you wanted to put this away under a desk, that would have been a nice feature, but they don't have it. Now for our next product here, we have the 4x36 belt sander with a 6-inch disc. The first thing I noticed, this is a lot heavier than the oscillating sander. I feel as though there's a lot of metal or cast iron, because to lift this, I just found it so much heavier than after dealing with that one. Okay, we got some instructions here. We have a miter gauge here, plastic. Have a table. Okay, let's pull this out of the box. And in our box, it brings 2 bolts with 2 washers, 6mm Allen key, a plastic adjustment knob, an aluminum work table. How we know it's aluminum? Our magnet won't stick. A washer, that's for our adjustment knob. A work support, which is metal, and a miter gauge. On the side of your 6-inch disc, this is where we mount our table. Place your washer there. Then this little guide here goes right into that hole. And then you screw in your knob. That's pretty sturdy. Oh yeah. And as for your miter gauge, it just falls in place. Found that a little strange. Usually it will go into like a little groove, but not for this one. This one, I don't know about that. Now, before mounting our work support, I'm going to loosen this bolt here. And once I loosen that bolt, then we can raise our belt. Okay. Now go ahead and tighten it. Wait a minute. Our nut came loose at the bottom. Okay, so when you loosen it, be careful because you can lose that nut. Now for our work support, it goes here on the side. When installing this piece, just make sure it's not interfering with your belt. And that's just to give you support for your workpiece. This latch here is to release your belt so you could change your belt. As you can see, you could slide your belt off. And pay attention to your belt. Follow the arrows. When you're looking at it from the front, your arrows should be facing down. This orange line here is basically an arrow facing downward. So on the back side, your arrows should be facing upward as it goes in this rotation. So you line up your belt the best you can. Our latch is spring loaded, so be careful, push down. And as our belt is spinning, if you need to make some adjustments side to side, this is the knob you turn. If anything ever goes wrong, that is your reset button. Our on and off button also comes with the safety feature. Pull out your tab, machine will never turn on. As I said before, if you're pulling it out, don't lose it. Our 6-inch sanding disc is a sticky pad. When replacing it, make sure you clean off all the adhesive before sticking your new one on. Our entire base is cast iron. This is all plastic. The opposite side is metal. In here is our drive belt. Let's take a look. I loosened the screw. You do not need to remove the screw all the way. And there's our drive belt. As for our table, you can tilt it from 0 to 45. All you have to do is just loosen your knob, then you could adjust your table. But I say before you work on your piece, just make sure this table's leveled. You can use a tool like this. As you can see, we're a little bit off. And here on the side is our dust port. Also, keep in mind, when you turn on this tool, your belt sander and your 6-inch disc will be spinning at the same time. Let's go ahead and turn it on. You need to make some adjustments. Now, that was pretty quiet. I thought it was going to be a lot more louder, but it wasn't. Now, I ordered this yesterday and it just came in from Amazon. Because this is a must need in my shop. We have here a nice long hose and 5 different adapters. And here it shows you all the different ways you can attach it on a shop vac. And for this kit, I only paid 20 bucks. I thought that was a good price. And this is a 10-foot hose. It's very simple. Just find the attachment you need and screw it on. This side. Connect this end to the vacuum. Connect this to your tool. Now I already made that purchase for my palm sander because it does have a 10-foot hose. But as it shows on your paperwork, there's numerous ways you could attach this to any of your workshop tools. For 20 bucks, can't beat it. But let's get back to the video I started. So our disc rotates this way. So I'll be using this side of our sandpaper. Not this end, because it might lift our piece. Now, I didn't expect that. That has a lot of biting power. That was pretty cool. I barely rest my piece there and it just started eating away at it. Again. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that. Now using this side, I'm going to round that out again. And here's a screenshot of the specs. Now, I'm very impressed with this tool. This one has a lot of power. However, I think they could have done something a little bit better with the miter gauge. But I didn't buy it for that. And I think I'll be keeping this in the vertical position as for now. And I will definitely keep you updated on the performance of this tool. I also have one more tool to unbox, but stay to the end or not skip to the end because I have an accessory that will work well for all three of these tools. Next on our list is the 3x21-inch handheld belt sander. Okay, let's open this up here. Instructions. Okay, a baggie there. Nothing else in the box. It's beauty. It's a beauty. Now, this is a good looking tool, but I don't understand why WEN changed their dust port on this tool. Why did they make this awkward shape? I'm not getting that. If you look inside the bag, there's a little notch. So you have to press in tight so it could clip onto these little plastic balls there. I don't understand that. Now, after reviewing so many WEN products already, I don't know why they decided on this tool to change the dust port to this awkward shape. I'm not getting that. Both of these are not like that. Even their hand planker isn't like that. So what engineer from WEN said, let's make this funky looking shape here for giggles? I don't know. Doesn't make sense. Good thing I didn't purchase this to work in the workshop. This is just to work outdoors on my picnic tables and the deck that I'm about to build soon. So, I don't know. Another thing, if you didn't know, WEN has been around since 1951. So, someone dropped the ball on this. And here's our trigger. And you can lock your trigger in place by pressing that button. And to release, just press the trigger. On the side here is our tracking knob. That's to adjust our belt. And right here is our tension lever. And that's to release our belt. Now you can slide it off. And again, there are arrows. So your belt's going this way. sure if you can see that. If you look carefully, that's your arrow that indicates that your belt is going this way. So that's how you put your belt back on. Try to get it as even as possible as you can before you latch it. So I would say hold it up top here before you latch it. Just hold it in place. Make sure you don't snap your thumb there. Lock it in place. Reason why I say hold it from up top before you latch it is because where your belt lines up, it's almost the exact same size. Here, I'll show you. Let me release it again. Take the belt out the way so you can see. See, this is your plate where your belt, where you're placing your belt at. And it's about the same size. Yeah, so just line it up, hold it there, latch it. Also, if you look on the back side, this little notch here, I have no idea what that is for. I didn't find anything in the manual that speaks about that. If you know what it's for, please leave it in the comment, because I'm very curious. At first I thought it was like for like a kickstand, so your belt's not resting and it stays upward like that. But there's nothing else in the box. I checked the box twice, there's nothing there. Just to give you an example what I'm talking about, on their hand planker, that's like a little kickstand. So when you place this down on the table, your blade is protected. I do like that the handle here is rubber. I thought it was plastic, but this section here on both sides is actually rubber. The front as well, where you hold on to it, it's also rubber. And this is a 7 amp tool. They also provide you some information on what gauge extension cord you should be using if you're going a certain amount of feet. Now, our belt sander is plugged in. To make our adjustments, you flip it on its backside, and then you pull the trigger and you watch it go side to side and you make your adjustments. Now just pay attention to this area here. So if you think about a righty tighty lefty loosey, if I go right, it should go inward this way. If I go left, it should go outward. Let's see. So look in this area here. So if I go downward, it should go more outward. You see? Now we want to adjust it. Then you just keep playing with it until you get it where you want it. And once you have it perfectly aligned, it should just keep your eye on it and make sure it's not falling off as you're working. I hope I explained that. It probably sounded a little confusing, but it does take time to make your adjustments. But once you have it adjusted, you're good to go. You don't have to play with that again until you decide to change the belt. Or if you drop the tool, you might want to check on it and make sure nothing's funny. But you will know right away if something's wrong because your belt's going to start going the opposite way that you don't want it to go. So let's connect our awkward, not understanding why they designed it like that, dust bag on. Okay, we are outside and we're going to test it out on this area of the picnic table. As you can see. And on this side last week, I was testing the planker. And that tool did an amazing job. If you would have seen, this was bulging outward a lot. If that video's released, I'll leave it in the link in the description. But as of now, let's work on this area and see how this hand belt sander does. Okay, look at that. It really did a good job. Now, at first it did catch me off guard because it took off. I wasn't expecting that much power, but it does have a lot of power. But the only thing I noticed, it only covers but so much space. So if you look at your tool where that metal plate is at, that's the only section that's actually sanding. From here, let me go more outward from there, and all of this isn't doing anything. It's only where that metal bracket is at. That's what I noticed. But it did a great job. I was impressed. You can see. Nice. As for their strange looking connection dust bag, it actually did a lot of work. As you can see, let's see here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it did pick up a lot. Not all of it, but it did get a lot of that. But we are outside. It is a little windy, so it wasn't going to catch it all anyway. Okay, my thoughts on the sander. For the price, 40 bucks, it's well worth it. But like I said, I felt as though it was only cutting in that area. That's 5 inches. Unless you don't mind rocking it back and forth like this to get more. But it has power. It took off on me. As for this, I still haven't figured out what it's for. And to the lefties, if I use this tool, it's difficult for me to press this button to hold my trigger in, so I will have to do that before I start and see where my hands position. So if your hands are bigger than mine, you're definitely going to be pressing up against the bag there. But that's the life of a lefty, because a lot of tools, they are really made for right-handed people. So for most of my tools, I did learn how to use my right hand. I just had to adapt. As for the cord is 6 feet, so I'm assuming that's just WEN standard. If this is a tool that you're going to be using a lot, I think you should look into other brands and see what they have to offer. Now, if you're going for a budget, this definitely is the budget tool. It works, it does the job, but I think there's better ones out there. You probably be able to cover more surface with other belt sanders. And like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure you noticed I can't stand or understand why did they make this dust port to not fit most standard connections. So the kit that I purchased earlier that you saw when I connected on the other WEN products definitely won't connect to your belt sander. Just can't do it. But for the kit and the price, 20 bucks, yeah, that's a steal. And it comes with 3 more connections. 20 bucks all day, every day. Now I'm gonna show you the accessory I was talking about that is a must to own if you're purchasing any of these 3 tools. Let's open up our bag here. This is called an abrasive cleaning stick. Now, here's the weird thing. It says do not, or you do not need to remove all the wrapper. But what this is for is to maintain your belt clean. With a clean belt, it will perform its best all the time. So we're gonna power this one up and test this cleaning stick out. Now I know a few woodworkers already bragged about this product, so I said, I need to go get it because it wasn't that expensive. I think it was like $7 for the one stick, and that looks like it's gonna last some time. Okay. Nice. Yeah, I like that. This one looks pretty clean. Okay, let's try it on this one. Nice. Look at that. Now, if I had it connected to the dust collector, it should have picked all that up. But look at that. Well, there you have it. That's the end of my video. I hope this video helped someone out there. Perhaps this is something you were thinking about getting in your workshop and you were curious on how it looks even when it comes out of the box. And hopefully this video will help you decide whether this is something that you want in your workshop. And I believe I did mention this is not a sponsored video. However, I am Amazon affiliated. If you make a purchase through the link I provide at the bottom, I get a small kickback at absolutely no cost to you. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon. And I'll see you on the next one. You should have yourself a good one. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another Handyman Land video. Today's video I have 3, 2. I forgot what I was gonna say.